Hello everyone, welcome to FCA Friday. Today I am going to discuss with you my sleep paralysis experience. So sleep paralysis, if you don't know what that is, it is this sensation of feeling or being awake when you're supposed to be asleep. So your body, when you go to sleep, everything kind of slows down and mini shuts down. And this is to prevent you from falling out of bed, from making a bunch of noise while you're sleeping and alerting. It used to be to keep you from being alerting predators at night where you were while you rejuvenated and recovered. And sleep paralysis, when you wake up and you can't move, you can kind of move your eyes a little bit, but you keep on trying to make your body move and you can't, and it can be very, very scary and very terrifying, especially children. A lot of people get the sensation where it feels like there's something or somebody on you or on your chest, and a lot of people, including myself, have the experience of being watched, where there's a figure, something is in the room with you. This is a very scary experience. So when I had sleep paralysis when I was very little. And before, this was back in the early 90s. I was born in 89. And there wasn't a lot of stuff known about sleep paralysis. People probably just went through it and were just tortured by it. Nowadays, if you have sleep paralysis, you're intended to try and focus everything into moving, like your pinky, into trying to bend your toes, trying to blink, something like that. What happened with my sleep paralysis, as I said, it started when I was really, really little. I have fewer things of sleep paralysis now, but it used to happen a lot. I used to experience sleep paralysis. I felt like 4 or 5 times a week, where I would be asleep, but I was awake and it felt like there was somebody on my chest. I had told my parents about this, but of course, as I said, early 90s, people didn't know about stuff like that. So my parents had just casually told me I was having a bad dream, I needed to go back to sleep. Now, my personal scary association with sleep paralysis is that not only did I feel like there was somebody in the room with me, but I felt like that person was on me, because in my child's mind, it's dark, there's shadows, your imagination's going crazy, and I can't move, and I feel like I'm trying to scream for help, I'm trying to move, and I can't. This sensation was combined with thinking that there was a male figure who I had dubbed the Shadow Man sitting on my chest, where it was like he was sitting on his knees like this and looking at me. So imagine having somebody, a grown man's knees on your chest, his legs are long enough, let me readjust here, legs are long enough to sit on my whole body and make the rest of it numb. And being in the dark and being terrified. Not a great combination. But as I said, my parents just told me, as parents do, they, little kids telling them, hey, there's a man who sits on my chest in the middle of the night and I can't move. You're having a bad dream, you're just dreaming, you should just go back to sleep. You're just having a nightmare. Now, since I believed my parents, I had no reason not to. How I started overcoming sleep paralysis is when that sensation would happen where can't move, can't breathe. It feels like I can't breathe, or it's hard to breathe because there's a thing on my chest. I was like, I need to go back to sleep. So I had focused on closing my eyes and willing myself to go back to sleep. And that's what I had started doing. When that would happen, I would just go back to sleep. And then I started having nightmares. And as a child, I associated this with the sensation of the Shadow Man was trying to get me. And this was before, the Princess and the Frog was a thing. because he was just a black silhouette of a man who he looked like a shadow to me. And he was mad that I was able to get him off of my chest by going back to sleep, so I was no longer scared of him being there, being on top of me. So what started happening is I would go back to sleep, and I would go to sleep. But I started having recurring nightmares, and the nightmare that I would continuously have would be that I would be in the woods, I would be on the edge of a building, I would be on the edge of a cliff, on a hill, I would be on something I could fall off the edge of. And the shadow man would always come out at me. I couldn't see his face, there wasn't an expression, it was just, you could just feel the anger, at least in my dream mind self I could. And it was scary, and he would always push me off of things. So I constantly had the sensation of falling out of bed, waking up in terror and panic. And then I would go back to sleep, and I'd be all right again. Well, then I started overcoming that, where it just sort of occurred to me that when somebody walked by me, one day it just hit me. Somebody walked by me, and their shadow went over me. And I was like, the same thing will happen with the shadow man. In my head, I was like, if I can't see him, he won't be able to physically get to me anymore. And I think that it was because, again, this is the mind of a child, like a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, young child. And so my sensation with this that I remember, and I use the tactics today, is that when I went to sleep, I couldn't see the shadow man on me anymore, so he went away. So then I decided, well, if I can't see him in the dream, then he won't be able to push me off cliffs anymore. So every time I would see him running towards me in the dream, I would just go like this. And it's one of those things in the dream where even though you can see yourself, he would run through me, and that started working for a while. But he was still mad at me. I still felt like the shadow man was mad at me. And so I regularly have nightmares and very weird, intense, scary dreams. And I just became a really, really good lucid dreamer. So I have lucid dreams that help me. It's just a way that I've been able to help myself overcome sleep paralysis. And the problem with lucid dreams is when I'm having them, but I can't control the dream, I just recognize that I'm in it, because most of the time I can control the lucid dream, but when I can't, it is so wearing because my body is moving, I fidget a lot, and I feel like I've actually been running, I've actually been doing something, and so my body gets worn out from the dream, and so I wake up so tired and unrested from those. My next FCA Friday is going to be going over in more depth about my lucid dreaming associated with that, but that is my experience with sleep paralysis. If you want to tell me about your experiences with sleep paralysis or how you overcame them, and whatnot, let me know in the comments below, and we can get to know each other better like that. I will see you for vlogging all of August, Makeup Monday, and the next FCA Friday. Bye bye!